The Nutter Center is primed for an annual rematch of long-range bombs, big dunks. The Nutter Center is primed for an annual rematch of long-range bombs, big dunks, and intense rivalry. Wright State plays host to Miami. It's coming up next from the American Sports Network and the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. Welcome to the beautiful Nutter Center here in Dayton, Ohio, where two teams are located virtually only an hour apart. Will get once again into their rivalry as Wright State's Raiders will play host to the Redhawks of Miami. Hi everybody, Sam Smith along with the coach Mark Adams. Thanks for joining us for the game tonight. Wright State has won their last two games in a row, while Miami, they may have all the puzzle pieces, but haven't put them in the right place as of yet. Despite two teams going in different directions, Mark, this is always a good game.
It's a great rivalry here in Southwest Ohio that dates back to the late 1970s when Miami's legendary coach Darrell Hedrick, Division I Miami, came to Division II Wright State. It's been a friendly rivalry ever since, but a big-time game here in Southwest Ohio.
And it's always been very, very good. For Wright State, they picked up a couple of very big wins this year alone in back-to-back wins, not back-to-back literally, but two wins over Belmont.
You know, Sam, I consider myself as a mid-majorologist, and when you beat Belmont back-to-back games, that says something to me, and that's exactly what Wright State has done. This is an improving program and an improving team. Those are two big wins over one of the great mid-major programs in the country in Belmont.
You know, basketball is a great team sport, but someone has to step up, and thus our players to watch tonight, and a couple of juniors that may be ready to do that tonight for their respective teams.
And they do it in different ways. Eric Washington, the point guard that can score it as well. He does everything for this Miami Redhawk offense. He's so quick to spots. He can jump routes and finish in the 94-foot situation. I love his court vision. Watch him as he surveys, makes his teammates better down low. He sees everyone. 94 feet, watch out for number 33, Eric Washington. There are his numbers. He leads Miami in all three stat categories. And now we're going to talk about another quiet leader for the Wright State Raiders. That is J.T. Yoho. He's a big guy, but an undersized big guy. He's kind of that David versus Goliath, but he can knock down threes and stretch you out to the three-point line. He can drive around you. He brings great energy to this Wright State basketball team. J.T. Yoho, he can score it, he can rebound it, he can steal it. He's a big-time, undersized post for Wright State.
Over the last 8 years, only two games could be classified as one-sided. Thus, it sets up for another great night of action here as Wright State goes up against Miami University. It's all live from the Nutter Center, so pull up a chair and enjoy it here from the American Sports Network.
Cheer for the stumbles, the he shoulda had that's, and the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Well, as Mark pointed out, this of course started as Division I against Division II. It's now the 30th meeting between the Red Hawks and the Raiders here at Wright State. And again, you see the banners that already hang here in Wright State as they have had themselves quite a run, including a national championship in Division II back in 1982. Starting lineup tonight for the Red Hawks as they come in they're red. There's the starting lineup with McKnight. He'll be going, of course, with Washington at the guards. The front line would include the three-point shooter and Will Sullivan, while McCormick will join McLean as two freshmen that start tonight for Miami. On the other side of the coin for Wright State, they, of course, have some great shooting guards along with, as Mark has pointed out, a pretty good front line of people that'll be challenging all of these players here at the Nutter Center, and they'll be doing what they can to try to make it happen. There's the starters for Wright State. We mentioned Arsenault. He's 86 points away from 1,000. Ben Zingert loves the three. Probably never met one that he didn't like. While that front line of Thomason, a fine junior college transfer, Yoho, and of course Corinna, who's the first New Zealand player ever to play here at Wright State. Mark, you've got to look at what's happening here with both these teams. Both have the pieces on to make this a pretty good run in their respective conferences.
Wright State is much more skilled offensively than Billy Donlin has had in the past. They can score consistently, and once they get their defense up to speed, typically Billy Donlin's teams play great defense. This is more of an offensive-oriented team that's learning how to play defense together.
He told me this morning at the shoot-around, he said, I'm a defensive coach. You got to understand that. But he said, it's nice to all of a sudden roll it out and say, hey, we can score 70 points night in and night out. Joe DeRosa will be our lead referee, while Todd Williams and William Jacobson will be the two other. It'll be our officiating crew as the red-clad Red Hawks will win the opening tap and bring it ahead. And who else but the man we talked about, and of course Washington running the show. Mark, they like to get the ball inside, outside as well to kind of set up some three-point shooting.
Now, and keep your eye on number one, Zach McCormick. He's got moves rolled out the ball. He's not necessarily a guy that scores it, but he likes to set up his teammates.
McLean sets it up, then breaks inside. Big challenge, but doesn't get it to go, and the rebound comes off. Yoho, as he pointed out, 6.6 rebounds per game, gets his first of the night.
Watch for Wright State to get an inside touch early.
Lots of cutting, a lot of screening for this club. Yoho outside, Corinna, good three-point shooter. Has had some international competition to kind of add to his play here in the States. Washington, that's how he creates. Corinna with a block, and it goes back to Wright State.
So Washington gets into gaps quickly. He's difficult to defend out front, and that's been an Achilles heel for Wright State, stopping the dribble from the point of attack.
Allison, young man will miss his first one of the night. He'd hoped to knock that down. Went to junior college at State Fair. Actually was recruited by Wright State. Played right here at Thurgood Marshall High School in Dayton.
Number 3, Will Sullivan in red. He's the three-point shooting threat for Miami. He loves to load it up from deep.
18 so far, 47% from the three-point line. Good penetration inside by McKnight. And a reach-in foul, the first of the night called on Wright State. Let's take a look at our keys to the game. First of all, let's take a look for the Red Hawks.
Well, for John Cooper, it's a battle of the boards. They get out-rebounded by 3 a game, but they shoot the ball very well. 37.5% from behind the arc. Wright State will need to stretch their defense to take away that strength from Miami.
You know, another area that the Red Hawks have really improved in is at the free throw lane. They're now shooting 70%. They were shooting early in the season about 57%. So if it gets into a free throw shooting contest, the Hawks can hold their own.
I love the entry pass.
Here's what Yoho does so well, but doesn't get that roll. By the way, Stephen Davis is checked in for Wright State. He's playing with an injured right hand. His ring finger of the right to hand, and he missed the game. He missed Urbana. But he also is a very, very good shooter and good penetrator as well for Wright State.
Watch Joe Thomason, number 32 in white defensively. He's rangy. He's got great feet. He could be a defensive stopper for Wright State.
Good matchup out there. Washington going up against Arsenault. Long shot by McKnight, no good. Rebound, there's Davis. Shows you that jumping ability.
That's the length defensively of Joe Thomason, who challenged that shot. Difficult to score over him. 32 in white. I think he's one of the up-and-comers in the Horizon League.
Closing in on 3 minutes deep into this first half. No score on either side so far.
Look how Miami packs inside the three-point line. They are daring Wright State to take that shot.
And Arsenault does, but misses quite badly. Sullivan off with a rebound. You know, McKnight's one of those guys from Middletown, Ohio that also has had some up and down games. He can really score big and kind of disappears maybe a night out.
Well, JT Yoho, conversely, on the Wright State side, he averages 20 points in wins and 14 points in the losses.
Arsenault trying to get it to Davis. Off it comes to Washington, and Miami's on the run.
Hard for big guys to catch a bounce pass like that at full gallop.
Sullivan got the roll on a three-pointer. And does that open it up here for Miami as they jump out to a 3-0 lead?
Joe Sullivan, 47% from behind the arc. That's just a layup for that kid. He loves being behind the arc.
Well, that makes your offense rather effective, wouldn't you think, Coach?
Especially when it hits off the front of the rim, goes 10 feet in the air and drops in.
Penetration inside, and there's Yoho, that good first drop step. And he lays it off the glass for his first points. Back in the other end quickly, Washington. How about that little razzle-dazzle?
He's so quick to get himself into spots. If you don't get back defensively, he's going to burn you. And right there, a bunch of white jerseys not sprinting back. Washington takes advantage.
Benzinger knocks down a three out of the corner. Benzinger shooting 38% from the three-point line. That's his 17th of the year. The Cincinnati co-player of the year when he played high school ball and in Cincinnati at Moeller High School. 5-5 tie, first tie we've had here in the game tonight. Quick jumpers up by McLean, the freshman, no good. And Washington.
Good entry pass.
Good, nicely done, and Yoho finishes it.
Thomason to Yoho. Thomason recognized the mismatch. Yoho works so early to get post position. He has excellent footwork down low.
Sometimes it's hard to teach that. You kind of stand around a little bit sometimes.
You know, the guy that did it better than anybody last season was Doug McDermott. He worked the angles of the low block better than anybody. And while JT Yoho is not Doug McDermott, he's awfully good at using the angles down low in this Wright State offense. I love the way he moves.
That ball will get us a timeout and substitutes on either side. Only 6 to shoot. Washington 3 to shoot. Spins inside. Slip. Off it comes to Davis and Eck. It goes to Arsenault. Reggie penetrates inside. And we'll throw it out of bounds. And with the sound of the horn, that's going to end it as far as this part of the action is concerned in the first half. Well, we have played quite a bit here with 14:34 left to go in the first half of the game. And it's a 7-5 lead now. And it's all based on this young man getting loose inside for the bucket.
Recognized as one of Ohio's leading universities, Wright State offers a welcoming environment to nearly 20,000 students from all backgrounds, from all 50 states, and from 64 countries, with a dedication to service. Students pursue degrees in demand, such as accountancy, and are well on their way to successful careers, winning a national accounting competition an unprecedented 5 times. Our focus on ingenuity has made us one of Ohio's top research universities. We've developed a meaningful partnership to improve the diagnosis and treatment of neurological disorders, and a one-of-a-kind training facility for healthcare providers and disaster responders from around the world, one of our 6 Ohio Centers of Excellence. Our culture of creativity has made us a trailblazer for collaboration and innovation in the arts. Built on a heritage of innovation, Wright State University's positive impact is felt throughout our region and the world.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Well, a low-scoring first half so far, 7-5 in favor of the Raiders. You know, we're watching Horizon basketball tonight, one of 10 conferences that the American Sports Network is airing this year. And you know, Mark, when you take a look at all of these conferences getting some additional exposure, this is great for the whole country.
Well, we're proud to be partners with these 10 conferences, and to give you an idea what these conferences have done in non-conference play, and I tend to think of these programs because of budgetary constraints as doing more with less. 54 times now in the first month of the season, conferences that do more with less from a budget perspective have knocked off the big money programs. The A10 has won 8 games, the Conference USA 6, the Big South 5. 19 games have been won against the big money conferences by the A10, Conference USA, and Big South. We're proud that the Horizon League and company are our partners on the American Sports Network.
Just Google AmericanSportsNetwork.com and you'll find out the games in your area. And we're very happy to be here in Dayton tonight. And Miami has made some changes. They're bringing in Khalif Wright, number 21, will be one of the big fellows inside, along with Willie Moore, number 22. Willie can fill it up.
And Sam, the Horizon League had a big win earlier this season when Green Bay knocked off number 15 Miami. And I'll tell you, I saw Detroit yesterday, gave Wichita State all they wanted, led by Jawan Howard Jr. The Horizon League is up this year.
Rebound comes off once again to Wright State, and it comes off to Davis. Ahead to Hopkins. Krishan, also an excellent shooter for Wright State. Number 20, got to watch him at the three-point line. Benzinger had a foot on the line, but knocks down a deuce. And his 5th point of the game. Grant
Benzinger, the toughest kid on the team, comes from a great bloodline. His dad, Todd Benzinger, played for the Cincinnati Reds. That kid really competes well, number 13 in white, Grant Benzinger from Wright State.
You know, I watched him at the shoot-around this morning, and after he shot quite a bit, he kept looking at his hand as if there was something wrong with it, but doesn't show in those first 2 shots. Here's a driving layup after the steal, and up and in goes Mark Howell, who puts it in and scores.
And the assist from Krishan Hopkins. Krishan Hopkins, one of the most talented guys on this Wright State team. When he gets in the offensive flow, Wright State becomes very, very difficult to guard. Number 20 in white, Krishan Hopkins.
Billy Donovan's got to like the pace of this game now, and the fact he wants to put a lot of points on the board tonight. Miami trying to get him open, and they do with a long-range jumper, but out of the range that time of Moore.
Great defense by Wright State there. Nothing penetrated the circle for Miami on that possession.
By the way, Howell, his grandfather was Mike Howell, who played for the 1972 Miami Dolphins in that perfect season of the National Football League.
Earl Moore? Are we going back to Earl
Moore?
We
are, yeah. We just dated ourselves, didn't we? Benzinger. Oh, that's a big league 3. Holy cow. Second 3 of the night for Benzinger. Forces Miami to take a timeout. And quite a run, a 12-zip run here by Wright State, as they will talk it over on the other end. Let's take a look at our keys to the game here for Wright State.
For Wright State, battle the boards. They get out-rebounded by almost 5 per game. And JT Yoho, when it's the good JT Yoho, 20 points per game. When he's more like Yo-No, it's 14 points per game. But when he plays well, Wright State is very, very good. But I like the toughness of Grant Benzinger. He played a little football at this high school called Moeller High School down in Cincinnati for a year. And this kid has great balance and great strength. Watch his feet. Just watch his feet get set, boom, and he pogos straight up. He's always vertical. He's up and down. Watch him get his feet set, straight up and down. And a nice wave goodbye. Perfect shooting fundamentals leads to success for the toughest kid on the team, Grant Benzinger.
When you think about playing basketball at Moeller, you also think football at Moeller High School, and he did play on a state championship team in 2012. So he's got success on both the playing field and the court there at Moeller High School.
And if you play football at Moeller, you're going to be tough. Trust me.
You have been in competition. Miami again trailing this game 14-5 after a 5-5 tie. It's been all Wright State.
Good ball movement.
And a try for a 3 on the outside by McCormick. Rebounded off on the offensive rebound, and that's one area you pointed out. They got to win some battles of the boards, get some second chances.
It heals a lot of offensive problems when you can create a second chance point.
Sullivan, number 3, is the guy they'd like to get at the three-point line. He's in the left corner. 13 on the shot clock for Miami. Deep corner, and they cross it away.
Well, the Wright State defense I can see them improving defensively now as they're taking away dribble penetration routes against Miami. Everything's on the perimeter right now for Miami.
Turnovers, Miami 4 and 2 so far for Wright State. And with the turnover, another timeout after a 12-0 run. It's right now the Raiders in front by 9. Well, right now with a 9-point lead by the Raiders, 14-5. Miami shooting only 22% compared to 60 so far right now for Wright State. You know, we're talking about some great players that are featured on the American Sports Network, including a young man at Asheville. Saw him play early in the year. These are 5 very, very quality players.
Andrew Rousey is 5'10" on his best day, but one of the most dynamic guards in the country, leading the country at 25 points per game. I love his game. I think he should be on the Naismith watch list right now. He's not, but he should be the leading scorer. And how about Kyle Wilson last night in Army out of the Patriot League, going to Los Angeles and beating USC at USC in front of 120 of his family members. Wilson's from the Los Angeles area.
And the Trojans are still crying and bemoaning that one last night. Wright State trying to get it down the baseline, trying to get in the hands again of Benzinger, who leads him with a total of 8 points, including 2 threes in this early going. We made mention of Hopkins, of course, is a guy that back-to-back 20-point games to start the season against Belmont at Old Dominion. Hasn't had that kind of quality games as of yet, but again, they're starting to spread out the playtime here for all of these guys at Wright State. Benzinger, has he got another 3? He does.
That is smart offense. And where did the assist come from? JT Yoho, the leading scorer. That's what he can do for you. He not only scores it from 3, but he finds his open teammate, who's hot, Benzinger. Give him the ball. Smart play by the starting center for Wright State.
Largest lead of the game for Wright State, up by 12 points. Shot out the left-hand wing by Sullivan, trying to make something happen for Miami. He's got an early 3, but that's it so far. 3 of their 5 points. 10.5 left to play in the opening half here in Dayton.
Well, I would deny Benzinger the ball. I just wouldn't let him even have a touch. He is just so hot right now.
They'll try to get a 3 elsewhere, and Davis will miss. Washington trying to push a little bit here for Miami. Now sets it back up in the half court. Good pass inside, but they can't finish it off. As that time Rod Mills got a look at it. And as they try to bring it ahead, it's going to be a travel. Benzinger is caught for the 3rd turnover now by Wright State.
When Miami shoots the ball 37.5% from behind the arc, so far they haven't gotten even an open look from behind the arc. They need to start going inside out to create that inside presence.
Coach John Cooper, now of course in his 3rd season there, you see his overall record of 24-46. He came here from Tennessee State. As a matter of fact, took one of his best buddies along with him. That is Ricky Duckett. I watched a lot of Duckett's early games when he's a coach at Fayetteville State and Winston-Salem State down in North Carolina. Whistle and a foul. It's going to be called on Mitchell. Justin Mitchell getting his first foul.
John Cooper was a great student athlete at Wichita State. Played for Eddie Fogler there. He was a Rhodes Scholar candidate his senior year. Now, that is quite an honor to be a Rhodes Scholar candidate at Wichita State. I know Greg Marshall very, very well at Wichita State. Yep. He was not a Rhodes Scholar candidate. He's a heck of a basketball coach, but he wasn't a Rhodes Scholar candidate.
And he'd be the first to tell you that, right?
Well done, John Cooper.
Jump hook inside. It's going to be off the mark again as they're trying to get offense from somewhere. That time it was Livingston who just checked in to the Miami lineup. This is a junior from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Good jumper, good inside player, and they're hoping he can make things happen. Over McKnight, the three is no good. And right on cue, they come up with a solid rebound by Mills.
Miami doing a good job of defensively rebounding the basketball. It's been one and done for Wright State off the miss.
Wright State leads that rebounding battle, only 9-7 at the moment. 9 minutes left to go in the first half. McKnight looked at the three, gives it off to Washington. In a crowd, got it on the roll.
Man, is that strength. Number 33, Eric Washington, took the bump and finished, no call.
Took him a long time to get that 7th point after a 15-0 run by Wright State to put them down by a dozen.
Miami changes up defenses, now goes 2-3 zone.
And Wright State makes them pay for it as Corina in with a big dunk.
In practice the other day, Billy Dolan told Michael Corina, play like Tarzan, not Jane. That was Tarzan.
Lean in that time by McKnight. Off it goes to Hopkins against Washington, and unfortunately he trapped it on his hip, and they'll turn it over.
Michael Corina. Tarzan.
You know, I would have loved to see the expression on his face. Turn and saw nobody there.
You gotta love that. That's aggression right there. He was a little bit soft in practice the other day, and Billy Dolan wasn't putting up with it. And that's exactly what he said. You got to play like Tarzan.
Not Jane.
Not Jane.
Or Cheetah, or whomever. 8:13 left to go in the first half. Just a basket by Miami is the only thing that's kind of gotten him off the schneid here for a while. After that 15-0 run, but now they're down by a dozen again. Inside the roll by McKnight is not going to go, but he's going to be fouled on the way to the hoop. Personal foul is called on JT Yoho. First foul on Yoho. 4th team foul on Wright State. Miami, interesting enough, has not received a team foul as of yet.
I like the aggression of number 0 in red, Giovanni McKnight. He is lowering his shoulder. He's inviting contact, and now starting to get into those stingy seams of the Wright State defense.
That ball will get us a timeout for both these teams. Corina jumping out, trying to help Mitchell. Washington jumper head of the key, no good. Rebound off, and here it comes the other way. Arsenault. Tomlinson again out of Thurgood Marshall High School.
Watch number 14, Corina, call for the basketball. Really working the angles of the post.
Mitchell tried to get a little acrobatic on that one. Rebound to Washington. Bounce pass a little too deep for Livingston to do much with, and he, rightly so, gets it back outside.
It's a good catch by L.J. Livingston.
Corina gets a foul with a knee into Washington. Team foul number 5 now whistled on Wright State. And with that, we've got a timeout on the floor. Coach Donald, who's been under the weather the last couple of days, matter of fact, came to shoot around today, extended my hand. He said, I don't touch anybody. I don't want to give you this. But he's feeling much, much better, and his Wright State club is helping him with his recuperation now as they have the lead with a score of 19-7. The rivalry continues in Dayton after this timeout.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Well, 16:04 and 9:02, maybe just numbers, but to Miami it spelled disaster. That was the time they had their last basket, and then they got another basket for only their 7th point of the game. So right now it is Wright State. On the bench for Wright State, of course, is Billy Donlin, and good story over there with his dad coming and joining the last couple of years.
It's the only program in the country, I've looked everywhere, and I believe it's the only program in the country where you have the head coach is the son, the assistant coach is the father. They actually live together in the same home. And the interesting thing about this relationship is that Billy Donlin, the son, pays the mortgage. Bill Donlin, the father, sets curfew.
Oh, I like that.
You know, I keep thinking of Billy living in his father's basement. You know, that's kind of the visual that I have about that relationship. But what a wonderful partnership of son and father, head coach and assistant coach. The only other one I can think of was the Alfords.
Yeah, right.
At Iowa, I believe it was.
It was.
When Steve Alford and his dad were on the same staff. Of course, Steve was the head coach then.
My Bill Sr. was with Rick Pitino at Providence for 4 years. He left before the final 4 year, going with Bill Foster out at Northwestern. He said he was there for about 12 years, but nonetheless, he said, I just got out. I got a little tired of it, and I didn't see the future, and now he's delighted to be back once again. And he said being on the bench and relating with these young men has been a real thrill for him.
Well, and they lost their wife and mother a couple of years ago, 4 years ago now. Very difficult time for the family, but what a wonderful father-son success story here at Wright State.
6 team fouls now called on Wright State. 6:46 left to go in the first half, and again, a commanding 19-7 lead by the Raiders. At home, in their whites with the green and gold. Red-clad Redhawks coming in and looking for a basket since the 9:02 mark of this half. Do they get it from Sullivan? They do. And Sullivan knocks down his second three of the night.
Very simple but very effective design play. Dribble penetration, force the defender to look, and get it to your best shooter, Will Sullivan.
Coach Donovan was worried about the defense that Miami will throw at you. He said there's about 5 different looks, and that full court pressure almost got them a turnover.
Great hustle by Grant Benzinger to get that loose ball and save the possession. He's tough.
Both Coach Cooper and Coach Donovan said the effort of his team on loose balls is going to be a key, and you saw the great example there. What an entry pass in by Arsenault, and Davis finishes it off.
Reggie Arsenault, because of his size, he's 5'0", by the way. He was the only guy in the building that could see that passing avenue inside. That was very tough pass, very well executed.
Miami working basket left. You can see the time at 5.5 to go. McKnight rearing up and scoring. Boy, they need him to get some points in a hurry here.
I like Giovanni McKnight. He averages 9 points a game. He's struggled from 3, but he's a kid that can create offense.
Driving layup on the other end by Mitchell gets his first basket. And a race to the finish of the first half is on.
And the assist from Reggie Arsenault again. It's wonderful as a coach when you can bring a point guard that brings energy and also that selflessness, willingness to pass the ball over to teammates. Number 3 in white, Reggie Arsenault.
4 assists already here in the first half. McKnight, look at the double team. Got to Washington. Out of the corner to Sullivan, that's their money man. And Yoho comes off for the rebound. 3rd rebound of the night for Yoho.
Look what Arsenault did right there. He sees Benzinger open on the right-hand side. They're in transition, so he gives his hot shooter the basketball right away early in the possession.
Yoho double team, kicks it back out. Benzinger gives it back to Davis, wants to set up the play, and they'll finally do it with Arsenault. Benzinger, 5 to shoot. 3 to shoot, they do. Davis misses. McKnight with a rebound for the Redhawks. You know, it seems that Wright State, Mark, is getting back very well. Miami just doesn't really get much going on any fast break. Nice drive by McKnight.
There's one guy right now carrying this Miami basketball team, and it's Giovanni McKnight, number 0 in red. He's getting it done.
Davis. Basket's going to count, and a whistle and a foul. Foul's going to go on Chris Bryant.
Moving slightly. That's close, though.
First foul call tonight on Bryant. Basket is good. Free throw to come. We return with more of our American Sports Network. And our game tonight from Dayton finds the Raiders on top of the Red Hawks.
Hey, baby. Have a seat and let me make you uncomfortable. Up those grades, son, or the only position you'll be playing in college is sitting on me. You're still awake? Have a seat on old Mr. Bench. At least your buns will fall asleep.
Is this the one about the high school hotshot who gets benched in college?
Hey, man, T, move down.
It's a tearjerker.
Which planet are we living on? Right here.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it, let's go.
College basketball on the American Sports Network is brought to you by CokeCareers.com.
Sam Smith along with Mark Davis. Glad you could join us here in Dayton at the Nutter Center. And you've seen the Wright State fans have had something to cheer about here tonight. As again, we've got an opportunity to watch one of the teams in the Horizon ball game. And again, the Horizon League, and they've done quite a job against the MAC so far.
Well, the Horizon League, when you talk about Green Bay and Kiefer Sykes knocking off number 15 Miami, I got the pleasure of watching Juwan Howard Jr. and the Detroit Titans yesterday. I think we're in for a heck of a run. Not even talking about Bryce Drew and his ball club up at Valpo. I think they're going to be very good as well. Gary Waters at Cleveland State. This is going to be a tight race throughout the Horizon League season.
26-14 as Wright State takes the lead up to 12 again. Miami led this game with a score of 5-2 early. And then all of a sudden it was a 23-9 run by the Raiders to really kind of make this a comfortable first half so far. Nice driving layup, but it rolls, but won't go. Yoho out-dealing Oswald for the rebound. .312 left to go. Tipped and knocked out of bounds.
Giovanni McKnight, one of those guys that moves quickly, plays with wingspan, which allows him to get deflections defensively.
Their last game, they lost 86-78 to IPFW at their place in Fort Wayne. But that night, 25 minutes, 10 points, and a couple of rebounds for McKnight. Came off the bench that night to kind of help him out.
Yeah, Eric Washington and Willie Moore went for a combined 48 in that game.
Davis now showing what he can do as he gets his 7th point of the night.
Now, Stephen Davis, a big key for Wright State this year. He's a bigger body that can make athletic plays. Without Kendall Griffin, who's out with a concussion, they need Stephen Davis to step up. Gets another rebound right there.
Jump hook by the freshman McLean out of Wintersville, North Carolina, doesn't go, and Wright State has another opportunity to get some more points on with their largest lead hanging on the board at 28-14.
Look at the Miami defense, how they sag. The reason for that, they want to take away dribble penetration routes, and they want to force the contested three, and there it is.
Arsenault misses it, and off it comes to McKnight.
Good defense by Miami that possession.
So when you draw it up, that's exactly what you want to do, right, Coach?
And it was a contested three over a bigger defender. That's exactly what you want defensively for John Cooper in Miami.
A minute 49 left to play in the first half. Miami coming to town with an 18-11 advantage in this series so far. Won last year's game by 3 in Oxford, is whistling a foul on Davis over the back that time of Oswald. 17th foul now called on Wright State. So free throw time here for Miami. You know, we made mention that they struggled at the free throw lane. First 5 games they shot 59%. The last 3 they have had 41 out of 51 for 80% to at least get up to their 70% for the year. And much of that has been done by Washington, along with Chris Bryant. They both have been shooting free throws very, very well for Miami.
Well, Joshua Oswald right now is a sponge for Miami. You go to practice, you learn about these guys and how they react to coaching. And Joshua Oswald, he just knocked down 2 free throws. He's so engaged. He listens to everything. He applies the coach's lessons. You know, Miami's such a great academic institution, and you get the same feel when you go to practice. These players all pay great attention, and they do exactly what John Cooper wants. It's a good group.
Talking to all of their coaches, they say it's just really a matter of time. It has been a struggle so far tonight, but they feel they've got some good players as a steal is made. McKnight did not put it on the floor in time, and a good close. But on that time by Thomason, forced him to pick up the dribble or not be able to get the dribble down.
Joe Thomason got on Giovanni McKnight's shoulder, and when McKnight caught it, he was surprised at how quickly Thomason closed on him. That's the length, speed, and explosiveness of Joe Thomason. There he is right there, 32 and white. I love his upside.
Hopkins, number 20, kind of running the show now with Arsenault still there, almost lost in the backcourt. And now they apparently do. As our lead referee, Joe DeRosa, saw very close, and now they called the timeout here for Wright State, and Billy Donlin didn't like what was going on the floor. So a 28-16 lead, Wright State. Both these teams will be heading into their respective conferences near the end of the year, and certainly by the first of the year, as Wright State goes into the Horizon and Miami goes to the MAC.
What I loved about the pressure of Miami right there, Giovanni McKnight was able to get into the offensive player and watch what the offensive player does. He'll stand up with the basketball. Watch number 0 in red, Giovanni McKnight. He gives good pressure right here. Keeps the ball in front. Look how Miami just rotates and keeps the ball in front throughout. There's the help and there's the steal. That's good team defense right there. And then Joe Thomason all of a sudden, because he's transitioning, because he's working hard defensively, doesn't give up on the play, forces the turnover. That's just good team defense and good individual defense on the Wright State side.
Tomlinson showing some good defense. His offense has been good as well. Back-to-back 20-point games against Evansville and Urbana. Yoho gets the friendly roll. Oh, you love those shooters that get that touch, huh?
Yeah, a little 12-footer right there. Didn't take it to the rim. Saw the defenders. Read it perfectly. He's a really smart kid.
Nice give and go, but Sullivan will miss the layup. But as Benzinger and Yoho battle for it, it's out of bounds to Miami.
JT Yoho can play for me any day.
Absolutely.
He's just so smart offensively. He has great footwork. He understands how to play. He's almost like a point guard that plays center for this team. And when they get Kendall Griffin back, he goes back potentially the 4 spot. Watch out for Wright State.
So when Mark Adams gets another coaching job, you've got this guy.
No, I'm done. I'm hanging with you, Parks. I'm hanging with you. I got fired once. That was enough. They don't have to fire me twice.
23 seconds and counting to the end of the half. And again, it has been a predominantly Wright State. It'll be interesting to see what Miami will do in their transition in the second half.
Watch Eric Washington, 33 in red, and then look for Sullivan, number 3 in red. He's the trigger guy from 3. He's going to set the screen and then pop.
4
there
seconds
is the corner.
And they're going to get a shot clock violation with 3 seconds left to go here in the half. Wright State will have it deep in the backcourt. Probably won't be able to do much with it.
Stephen Davis has a big-time size advantage deep. Number 0 in white. Watch for Stephen Davis. Get it to him.
Against Willie Moore.
And there's a 7-inch size difference there.
Coach Donlin talking to Joe DeRosa, our lead referee tonight.
And Billy Donlin sees it, and he is sending right now, number 0, Stephen Davis deep. They don't get it to him.
Yoho trying to get a shot off. Oh. And according to the wave here this morning, or this afternoon by William Jacobson, had it gone in, it would have counted. Well, Benzinger was the man that lit it up like a Christmas tree with 3 threes. He ends up scoring 8 points for Wright State as they built to as much as a 14-point lead, and they've held on to it as we head to our halftime intermission. Wright State trying to get their 7th win of the year, while Miami is trying to break a 5-game losing streak. And at halftime, the Raiders have the lead with a score of 30-16. Don't go far. Plenty of action coming your way on the American Sports Network.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still
buy me treats. You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens when it does. Get fire adapted now at fireadapted.org.
There's your score in Nutter Center for ASN's second game today. Miami of Ohio Redhawks have come from Oxford, Ohio to Dayton, Ohio for a game against the Wright State Raiders. Hi, I'm Ashley Bullington and welcome to ASN's halftime show. This matchup isn't the only game we have for you tonight. Coming up at 8, we have UNC Asheville and the UAB Blazers in Bartow Arena. Both teams have large underclassmen presence this season and their coaches are looking for veteran play to come from their youthful rosters. On Tuesday night, the College of Charleston goes head-to-head with Charlotte. The 49ers and Cougars square off in Halton Arena. The 49ers are coming back from an appearance in the BB&T Classic in Washington, D.C., and the Cougars are on the road for their first away game in December. Then on Wednesday, Georgia State goes to the Ted Constant Convocation Center in Norfolk, Virginia to take on ODU. It's the Panthers and the Monarchs going head-to-head, looking to carry on their winning ways in the month of December. This is the second of a 5-game homestand for the Monarchs. Also on Wednesday, Morehead State is going to Wisconsin to take on the Green Bay Phoenix. This is an Ohio Valley Horizon League showdown. Check your local listings for the game in your area. If you missed the game live, our website, AmericanSportsNet.com, has highlights of all of our games for you to watch. We're going to break, but when we return, I'll show you some trick shots the Raiders have up their sleeves.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to ASN's halftime show. The Raiders decided to show off their basketball skills recently, making an all-access video with some pretty impressive trick shots.
Hey there, Raider fans.
Waking up in someone else's bed was what I was waiting for.
This is AJ Packer, Wright State All Access.
I thought she saw me sneaking out the door.
What's up, party people? Wright State All Access.
Watching my youth slip away surely is a crime. And no.
Wright State All Access. Wright State All Access. I'm Kendall Griffin.
No, she don't know that we've been up all night. All night. All night.
Wright State All Access.
Wright State All Access.
Hold on. Wright State All Access. Wright State All Access.
Sun is out while I'm walking home. My head's up in
This is a raptor shot. Wright State All Access.
myself to bed, but I really don't know how.
Wright State All Access.
In my spare time. No.
This is a fight shot. Wright State All Access.
All night.
This here is a 5-point play. What's up, guys? It's your boy, T-Snake. Here with Wright State All Access. Money in the bank. Wright State All Access.
Sleep all day till the sunset. It's when I get my
Wright State All Access. The quarterback shot.
When I get myself home to my bedroom, I'm gonna sleep all day till the sunset. It's when I get myself home to my bedroom, I'm gonna sleep all day till the sunset. When I get myself home to my bedroom.
Wright State All Access.
When I get myself home to my bedroom, I'm gonna sleep all day till the sunset.
Oh, hey. Thanks for watching Wright State All Access.
I'm curious just how many camera takes each one of those shots took before they made it. Still pretty impressive if you ask me. I don't think it can make much more than a layup or a free throw. Don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Our handle's live on ASN, or you can tweet us with the hashtag #LiveOnASN. Sending you back out to the Nutter Center for the second half with the guys after this.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Halftime belongs to Wright State right now, 30-16 over Miami. Sam Smith, once again, along with Mark Adams, who's alongside and looking at a guy that's shooting the ball lights out. Numbers aren't big, but boy, is he pure shooting the ball.
Grant Benzinger, watch the hottest shooter in the country right now. He's 6 for 6 from behind the arc. Look at the left elbow, positioned perfectly pointing at the rim. Look at the ball position at the top of the forehead, and watch the release and the wave goodbye. He's 6 of his last 6 over the last 2 games from behind the arc, 8 straight. Just watch his feet right here. Completely squared, left foot up just a little bit. This is a left-hander. Now watch the fishhook release right there. Straight up and down perpendicular. He's the hottest shooter in the country right now because of tremendous shooting fundamentals. Grant Benzinger, man, I love his stroke.
11 points to lead Wright State as they've had some good contribution off of everybody's score. And, of course, Miami really struggling as we take a look at the stats here, Mark, and they are not good for the Redhawks right now.
Credit Wright State's defense holding Miami to 27.3, and Wright State 3 for 8 from behind the arc. That's the good news. The bad news, the only guy's made one is Grant Benzinger.
So does Benzinger and the Raiders continue to keep the pressure on and shoot it well? Or do the Redhawks have something up their sleeve? We'll find out. We'll get the second half underway from Dayton in just a moment.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Well, Coach John Cooper of Miami and the Redhawks, he's mapping out what hopefully he wants to get done here in this second half, Coach.
Well, Will Sullivan was 2 for 4 from behind the arc, number 3 in red for Miami, and he has knocked down shots. Miami, we talked about the keys earlier, that they shoot 37.5% from behind the arc for the season. Credit Wright State's defense, only 28% from 3 for Miami so far, but Will Sullivan has certainly kept up his end of the deal.
Now, as far as what the Redhawks have to do, obviously get Sullivan open, but you kind of made a point in the first half, inside, outside for this offense, which right now Wright State is taken away from them.
Yeah, Wright State's done a good job of taking away dribble penetration routes. I like what Giovanni McKnight did late in the first half, was really aggressive off the dribble and got into seams and make some plays. You can only get in the paint by 2 ways, dribble drive or the direct pass into the post.
Benzinger will wait for the ball to get into the forecourt as Wright State will have it to start the second half. Over the top of Arena, missed the dunk. And the loose ball comes up to Sullivan.
But look what Wright State did. They jammed the ball down the block. That's the key to their success. They feel they have an advantage. I tend to agree.
Corner really gnashing his teeth for missing that dunk. Out of the right corner, shot is up and good. And they, of course, are hoping to try to get something going as they have. Eustace has checked into the game and hits his first 3 of the night.
Yeah, Jared Eustace, he loves the 3 ball. He's from Brisbane, Australia. He's got some length to him. He can see over smaller defenders. Number 5 in red, Jared Eustace from Miami.
30-19 to score, just away. Closing in on 1 minute deep in the second half. Here's Thomason, his 3 rattles. Battle for the loose ball, goes out of bounds. It'll stay with Wright State. We look at Sullivan. They know they want to get him, and so does Coach Cooper with that basketball.
Another key for both of these teams to open the game was rebound the ball. Both teams have struggled to get rebounds. Wright State was +3 in the first half on the glass.
Maybe that's one of the reasons that Chris Bryant at 6'8" from Tallahassee, Florida, is checked back into the Miami lineup.
Good call. That's exactly why he's in the game. They need a rebounder, especially out of this zone.
Well, they close on Benzinger in a hurry, and I don't blame them. Arsenault, entry pass. Benzinger scrambles, and the last touch is Benzinger, and it's going to go to Miami. So they actually have had a couple of pretty good runs here for them.
Yeah, Miami's coming out with a little bit of grit right now, and they needed to be challenged at halftime, and they have responded as a unit. I saw John Cooper turn Tennessee State around with a guy by the name of Robert Covington, and now plays for the Philadelphia 76ers. And John Cooper knows his stuff. Great player at Wichita State, great coach now at Miami.
Miami trying to work that perimeter. 12 on the shot clock. Bryant muscling his way inside. Little jump hook is no good. Benzinger with the rebound. Yoho, look at that quick step. This time he will not miss the dunk as Corona puts it down for his 4th point of the game.
I love JT Yoho, plain and simple.
Washington, oh, look at Bryant. Found himself wide open and had to get a block from Yoho and Corona.
Now, JT Yoho is a 6'6" forward who leads the break and makes the dish to Michael Corena. That's twice he's been Tarzan today. He's listened to his coach in practice, who challenged him to be exactly that. JT Yoho has such a high basketball IQ. When you've got a guy at that size that can make that play off the dribble, 94 foot, and dish for the dime, that's impressive. That kid can play.
This is a ballgame that has not seen a lot of free throws on either side. So anytime you get a premium to step to the line, you better take advantage of it. 2 of 3 for Miami, only 1 of 1 for Wright State, and they miss them both.
Yeah, he's only a 56% free throw shooter, Chris Bryant.
That, by the way, was the 2nd personal foul called on Corena.
Boy, Corena just really works that low post hard. He's very physical.
Corena, that's the man on the bottom against Bryant. Muscle game, he hooks it in, and Bryant fouls him. Corena's got a little fire in his belly right now.
He worked so hard to catch that basketball. He worked for 20 seconds to get that position right there for the isolation against Bryant. And because he was able to turn over that left shoulder, went right old school hook on you.
You got a cushion. Shooter, Jay.
Misses the free throw. And Miami comes off with a rebound. 15-point lead on the board. 34-19 in favor of Wright State.
Well, when Wright State can add the toughness of Kendall Griffin at 6'4", 215 pounds, this is going to be one tough team to handle in the Horizon League. Everybody's talking Green Bay, and rightfully so with Kiefer Sykes. But I'm telling you, keep an eye on this Wright State team. They got a shot.
Griffin, by the way, got a concussion in the opening game of the season against Belmont. Has not played, but his coach calls him the best defender on the floor when he's there. Good tough mark to the basket by Bryant.
Eric Washington gets through a seam. I love his vision when he gets into traffic. He finds open teammates.
I think it's really funny right now. Benzinger and Sullivan, the two three-point shooters, are matched up against each other.
I'm sure they have the same instructions.
They do.
Make sure he doesn't catch it. Number 3 on number 13.
Miami coming off with the rebound and pushing ahead. His step. Good take to the basket with a left-hander. And he's going to get a blocking foul. And it's going to go on Benzinger. First of the night on Grant Benzinger.
We're starting to see the real Miami team here in the second half. A little more hop in their step, more aggression. John Cooper challenged his team to be more physical, to be tougher. We're seeing his team respond right now. I like the way they've come out in the second half.
My wife, my daughter who lived in Sydney for 9 years said it's Brisbane. It's not Brisbane, which I said last night. She said Brisbane. I said, okay.
Melbourne.
Well, substitution. Corinna's going to go off. They're also going to give Arsenault a little rest.
It's kind of like Louisville. It's not Louisville, it's Louisville.
Louisville.
Those of us that are from Kentucky, it's Louisville.
There it is. So unfortunately, Miami's unable to take advantage of the free throws again. And it's a 34-21 game still. The big lead on the board for the homestanding Raiders. Graduation here at Wright State yesterday. Students, for the most part, are departed for other places around the Ohio area.
Oh, he out!
Tomlinson. And it's going to be a turnover here on Wright State. They've had very few. And we've got a break. So 15:50 left to go in the second half, and Wright State, who has had as much as a 15-point lead, they did quite comfortably 34-21 on the American Sports Network.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go. Out with nothing to do. Out all afternoon when anything can happen. But every afternoon is a chance to change America's future. All you have to do is open the door. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
There's a force out there, and it's getting larger and more powerful every day. It's Wright State University. Its positive impact is felt throughout Southwest Ohio, the state, and beyond. It's like a city, teaching, entertaining, solving problems, creating jobs. It has a spirit that drives innovation, discovery, and accomplishment, transforming lives. Wright State University.
Back here at the Nutter Center, The homestanding Raiders with a comfortable lead, 34-21. You want college basketball? We've got it for you. Immediately following our game here in Dayton, you'll see the nation's #1 scorer with UNC Asheville as Mr. Rousey will try to go up against UAB Birmingham. He'll play in Birmingham, and again it gets underway immediately following our game here in Dayton.
Well, Billy Donlin likes great guards. You're going to see a great guard in this next game. Andrew Rousey, the leading scorer in the country. Billy Donlin played for the Irish national team during his playing career. He knows a good guard when he sees one, so do I. Andrew Rousey is special. Stay tuned for the nation's leading scorer on the American Sports Network right after our game.
You know, the one game that I did with him, he had a slow start because he was setting up so many other people, but they kind of lulled everybody else to sleep, and then he went to work. Got 35 against Charlotte. Miami got a point-blank shot but couldn't finish. 15-22 left to go in this game from Dayton and the Nutter Center. Horizon basketball, of course, their conferences here for Wright State getting underway. Just in a couple of weeks. Mack on the other side for Miami, and Yoho rolls into the basket for his 8-point.
There's an example of JT Yoho's footwork. He had a mismatch against a smaller defender. They even rotated a second defender, but he just stepped underneath the defender. Great footwork by JT Yoho.
McKnight, nice spinning move, and McKnight will get down for his 6th point of the game.
Well, he's a tough slasher to guard. He's a stopper on D, too. He's brought good energy for Miami.
Junior out of Middletown, Ohio, 6'3", 182.
They make him tough in Middletown, Ohio.
Yoho, Hopkins, Davis. Air ball saved by Corinna, but he was out of bounds when he threw it back in. And it goes to Miami with his 36-23 score on the board. I know it's only cutting it down from a 15-point lead a little bit, but you got to take it 1-2 points at a time.
That's what I like about Miami. They haven't panicked. They're playing much better, executing much better, and this is an important possession because you can get this thing down to 10. You give yourself a chance.
Washington got himself in a bad bit of trouble. Bryant that time, good play as he throws it off of Yoho, and it's going to belong still to Miami on the baseline. Coming back in the game will be the freshman, Zach McCormick, out of Cincinnati, Ohio. McKnight will go out for the Redhawks. Sullivan being tracked by Hawkins now. Inside to Bryant, hammered. Tomlinson thought he had pretty much of a block, but it may have been Corinne on the other side. And that is Corinne's 3rd foul.
The good news for Miami, Eric Washington is getting to the paint whenever he wants to get in the paint. And that's putting a lot of pressure on the Wright State defense right now.
Only 2 of 6 shooting at the foul line so far tonight for the Redhawks. And this time it's a 1-for-3 night for Bryant as he makes the first.
It's almost as if Eric Washington has said since halftime, get on my shoulders. I'm going to make plays. And he is.
Bryant had 10 points early this year against Dayton, 11 against Elon, and gets both free throws for his 4th point of the night. And just as the coaches pointed out, they're whittling away. It's a 36-25 score now.
Little full court pressure here, high risk, high reward defense. Wright State doesn't make them pay with a basket. When you press, if you can press and not get scored on, that's okay. You'll press again.
Reach-in foul is going to be called. That'll go against Willie Moore. Moore will draw his first personal foul. 2nd team foul called on the Redhawks. 3 so far for the Raiders. Benzinger coming back in, and Mitchell checks out for Wright State.
I like the adjustments made by Miami here in the second half. More aggressive on the offensive end with Eric Washington taking control. And defensively, a little full court pressure. I like it.
Tomlinson rears and fires. Bryant an easy rebound, and the Redhawks again could get this under double figures.
Washington's feeling it. He feels like he can beat anybody off the dribble.
They're going to try to get it with McCormick. The freshman missed it. That time Sullivan whacking Tomlinson from behind and draws a personal foul, number 1. Out of bounds to the Raiders. Yoho checks in, and Corina, the young man out of New Zealand with 3 fouls, checks out for the Raiders.
And because Wright State didn't score against the press on the last possession, they're going to go ahead with that high risk, high reward, that diamond press right there. Reggie Arsenault put in the game to break pressure. Number 3 in white for Wright State. There's your turnover.
Yoho mishandling, and guess who's there? Washington. Eric takes it strong to the basket, foul before he got there. And Hopkins is going to draw a personal foul. And Rashawn gets his first foul of the night. Young man out of Indianapolis Manual High School. It's out of bounds to the Redhawks. John Cooper's saying, hey, he might have been shooting that ball. Mr. DeRosa disagrees. And now a technical foul is going to go on Cooper. And he is very close maybe to getting a second one here.
You know, an official always has a thermometer. And once that pressure goes over about 101, then all of a sudden you're going to get teed up.
Arsenault will go to the line and will shoot free throws here for Wright State. Arsenault is a player that lists his hometown as New Orleans, but played his high school basketball in Charlotte at Olympic High School. Foul shot is no good. The reason being that his home was demolished by Katrina. He had family in Charlotte, knew that they had a good school system and wanted to kind of go back with some family. He's there and played very well at Olympic. Got some Division I looks, including Wright State. Said he got here and he hasn't looked back, and he's loved it ever since.
And he's willing to come off the bench for Wright State. And that's a selfless senior right there. And John Cooper won't have much else to say at this point, I don't think.
So the 1 of 2 free throws by Arsenault. By the way, 85 away from scoring 1,000 in his career here at Wright State. Sullivan to McCormick, back to Sullivan, and now there's going to be a charge as Sullivan drove down the lane. McCormick getting it out to Sullivan and draws the foul.
You know, as a coach, typically when you get a technical foul, you kind of think you might get the next call. That didn't happen.
Just lay down and take a pill, Coach. It'll pass, okay?
And John Cooper talking to the official about that call as well.
Still a 12-point lead here by Wright State after Miami had whittled into it, looking to get it under double figures. 12:42 left to go in the second half.
I'd continue to press if I were Miami, because Wright State has not burned them off of that press.
Yoho, little spin and got it.
He's really good. He's undersized, but really, really good.
Double figures with 10 points for Yoho. Washington, good tough move by Eric. His 6th point of the night, and it's basket for basket, and right now Miami can't afford to do that.
Now Washington had 24 points in the loss to Fort Wayne. Yoho again.
Got bumped on his way in there a bit from behind. Sullivan against Benzinger. Sullivan for 3. That's his 3rd of the night.
We got a basketball game.
We do, and if you notice, the crowd has gotten a little louder here, Coach.
Starting to feel a little bit nervous right now, the homestanding crowd here in Dayton, Ohio.
Game number 30 of this series. Miami owns it 18-11. They haven't won here in Dayton since 2008. Washington to the hoop. Good save on the far side. Sullivan for 3. Miami's back in this game. And now they're going to call a timeout for Wright State. 39-33. Well, Coach Cooper getting that technical has fired up his club, to say the least here.
I love to see guys who play great defense get an opportunity to play great offense. And Miami is doing exactly that. Off of their defense, they get it off to Sullivan, and it's nothing but ripcord from downtown. You like the first one? I'll give you another one. Will Sullivan. Splat.
Well, 39-33 right now. The Raiders lead down to 6, and now Miami is starting to turn up the intensity on the defensive end.
Watch Will Sullivan. He's right at the elbow of the key, right below the camera. There he goes. On the backside, he gets the deflection. Now watch what he does. He sprints the floor. He's outside of your screen now, but he spots up to the open area and receives the pass. He's the hot hand and knocks down the 3 ball. I love it when guys defensively are in position and make plays and then get rewarded on the offensive end. Will Sullivan of Miami.
12 points by Sullivan. This, by the way, is a 17-9 run by Miami. They get themselves right back into this game. They're also 6 of 9 in this half from the field after shooting only 27%, and now another turnover as the defense. Good job that time by Moore and Washington both. Forced the backcourt violation on the Raiders.
Usually you'll have assistant coaches that will bail you out in that situation when they see that 10 seconds. Good defense for John Cooper. Good adjustments for Miami. Miami in the hunt, down 6 here in Dayton, Ohio.
39-33, we're not finished yet.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Yes, I am.
Give it to him hard.
No, ow.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stab me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh,
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Well, for the Red Hawk fans, it looked like it was going to be a disastrous night, but what an effort now by Miami. 39-33, leading scorers on each side. And, of course, Mr. Sullivan has stepped up to the plate. Ironically, when you look at the leading scorers on both sides, it's been the three-point shooters that have been their big guys tonight.
Yeah,
Benzinger on one end.
Grant Benzinger with 11 here tonight. And they've been matched up together quite a bit. Will Sullivan with 9. He's 3 for 5 from behind the arc. But I think the biggest difference in the second half has been Eric Washington's ability to get by defenders.
Shot out of the corner for the 3 by Sullivan again. Rebound comes off to Yoho, and there's a little bit of that pressure again in the backcourt. Washington's like a little gnat. He just kind of stays after you in the backcourt. Forces you to make mistakes. And Wright State has made some that's helped Miami get back in this game. Yoho skips it off the rim, and the rebound comes off to Moore. And he wants some more.
Well, Eric Washington is a quiet leader. He doesn't say a lot, but his actions speak in volumes. 33 in red, he's the leader.
Traveling going to be called. Too much by Willie Moore that time. Really has not scored in this game after coming off that career-high 24 points the other night in the loss to IPFW.
It's a turnover, but at least you get to set your full court pressing, trapping defense.
Good ball movement by Wright State. Alley-oop goes to Corina. Yes, sir, for Wright State as he puts it down.
Now Miami will have to rethink the press. Wright State going to score against the press, not just break the press and set their offense. 2-3 zone from Wright State.
Shot is on its way from the outside by Moore. Rebound comes out to Yoho.
Wright State has been so successful by getting the ball in the paint. Right now, Eric Washington matched up with JT Yoho. That's a huge size advantage. Now they switch off.
Mitchell playing outside with Arsenault. Mitchell number 5. Tomlinson down the baseline, got a little bump, stayed with it and lays it up. That's his first basket tonight.
He's been very quiet, averages 12 points per game, one of the most gifted athletes on this team. Tremendous lengthy defender, number 32 in white, Joe Thomason.
Wright State gets it back up to double figures at a 10-point lead. 9 minutes left to go in the game.
Good help by Thomason. Good deflection by Thomason. That's that length.
McLean, the freshman, couldn't clean it up. And Wright State playing their defense. Miami, of course, obviously in this half have done the same to make this once again what is expected to be the rivalry that we've always come to know between these two clubs. A 3-point win by Miami at Oxford last year.
Well, if you've never been to the Miami campus, what a beautiful place. I love Oxford, Ohio. It is really a neat campus.
Yoho leans in, got the bump, but doesn't get the roll. So he'll go to the line and have a couple of free throws here for Wright State. Yoho again in double figures with 10. Again, as Mark pointed out at the start of the show, top scorer, rebounder, excellent job with the assist, and also very active on the defensive end and makes some steals.
Well, and he's just a smart player. I mean, he drew that contact there because he stayed under balance, and he pivots so well. I mean, it's a little thing that a lot of people don't notice and don't talk about, but when he gets the ball down low, every pivot, he's got his knees bent, he's got his backside down, he's got a low center of gravity, he's balanced, and he's quick to decide. Very decisive on the low block.
His 2 free throws gives him a dozen for the night. By the way, McKnight has checked back into the lineup for Miami, number 0, and handles on the left wing. 8:16 to go before they turn out the lights tonight.
Wright State staying with that zone.
Sullivan, they close on him in a hurry. Missed 3 by Miami, creates a break on the other end. Kermina pulled it off.
Smart play.
Miami had gotten back very nicely.
You know, and these big guys, Kermina and JT Yoho, they make smart plays in a 94-foot situation as well.
Thomason, good close on the ball that time by Washington. Knocks it out of bounds. It'll belong to Wright State, and we return. 7:43 left to go in this game from the Nutter Center in Dayton. Our score, the Raiders, who have led throughout the game, despite an early 3-point lead by Miami, have a lead 45-33. We're back after this timeout. Well, the Raiders of Wright State trying to get their 7th win of the season. Miami of Ohio trying to break a 5-game losing streak. And what looked like to be all Wright State early on has turned into to be a pretty good race, but now Wright State has pulled it out. You know, there's always guys that work not only hard on the basketball floor, but when they're away from the floor, they do good work, and good hands comes in here.
Yeah, this is the All-State Good Works team, and Matt Tybee at Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Alec Peters at Valpo, and Kendall Griffin, who's injured right now with a concussion. There's Kendall right there. He's been nominated for his great works off the floor. You know, it's wonderful to come to the Horizon League and learn about not only the great players on the floor, but guys like Kendall Griffin and the community service, the way that they give back to the youngsters in the community. He's a fine young man. I can't wait for him to get back in uniform, coming back from a concussion.
Injured in that very first game against Belmont. Disappointing for him. Equally so for all of the coaching staff for Wright State. Their best defender.
He took an elbow to the head.
To the basket again to Yoho. Stepped out of bounds on his way to the basket. You know, Mark, you pointed out about that great first step that he has. He also has that little stutter step that kind of catches in midair.
Yeah, he plays at different speeds. Most big guys play at one speed, but he plays at different speeds.
And there's McKnight getting his 8th point of the game and helping the Red Hawks to close the deficit again, back to double figures at 10.
But this is the end where Miami needs to make a stand, and JT Yoho has just been poison against this Miami defense.
And that's what he does.
Right on cue.
Hits the 3 on the outside after again doing most of his damage on the inside.
He's hard to guard. He's a matchup nightmare in this league.
9 points here in the second half, 15 for the game now. Distance will miss. And Arsenault will bring it ahead.
I'm not sure John Cooper wanted that particular shot in that particular situation.
Six and a half to go before it's over. If we play the regulation time, Yoho down the lane, Corinna. Tomlinson loses the ball, and Arsenault tried to save it but couldn't quite get the handle on it. The three-pointer by Yoho has him in the lead by 13 again. Yoho, career high, 25 against Charleston Southern. He has 3 games of 20 points or more so far this year. And a career high 11 rebounds against Evansville earlier this year as well.
Boy, defense just sagging.
Out of the corner, and that's Washington. Washington has but 5 threes for the year, and hits a big one right there to help out the Red Hawks as they once again draw within 10.
Well, that's what you do against the sagging defense. Nice job of moving the basketball, and Eric Washington wide open right in front of the Miami bench. JT Yoho has been the answer for Wright State here this afternoon. Down the block, straight up. Watch how he uses his feet, how he uses his body to gain position. Little jump hook down on the block. Defenders go underneath, he pulls up and drains the 3. I mean, he's a David Goliath big guy. He only goes, 6'6" maybe on a really good day, but he can draw you out, knock down the 3. He has great footwork down low. We've seen his ability to handle the ball and dish off in the 94-foot situation. That is a basketball player. He doesn't have a position. He's just a basketball player.
You know, Mark, you've made a point about Benzinger, how he gets those feet kind of leveled out. And that's the same thing with Yoho. He came off that screen, had those feet nice and balanced, and was on balance all the way through the 3.
Sam, it's a great point. To be a great basketball player, you have to have balance.
Tomlinson saved that turnover. Corinna, layup foul. Well, that was a play that for Wright State was going to be a disaster. And for Miami, it was going to be another turnover, but they turned it in to 2 points and a free throw.
Michael Corinna, he ain't shy. When he goes to the rim, he goes with authority. If all New Zealanders are like that, I'd recruit a lot of New Zealanders.
Remember when he missed the dunk early in the first half? You could just see on his face going, how can I do that? How can I be better and not make that happen again?
But you know, Sam, as a coach, you love the fact that the kid's attacking the rim.
Yep.
I mean, he's not going up there soft.
Misses that free throw. Coretta came in as a 71% free throw shooter. That's his second miss of the night. Washington for three. And a shove from behind on the far side by Moore. Second personal foul on him individually. And that's going to be the 17th foul called on Miami, so it goes the other way for free throws for Wright State. Wright State, 73% free throw shooters. And Tomlinson is going to come up to the foul line to shoot it here.
You know, Sam, one of the great all-time Raiders in Wright State history was Vitaly Potapenko. And the way he got recruited to Wright State was Jim Brown, the assistant coach, tried to call him in the Ukraine 3 different times and actually hung up because Potapenko's mother answered the phone and spoke Russian. Jim didn't speak any Russian. So he called a professor at UD who spoke Russian, who came over and helped him with the phone call. You know, the amazing thing is, Dayton and Wright State don't see eye to eye here in Dayton, Ohio. And the reason why Vitaly Potapenko came to Wright State was because of a UD professor who translated for Jim Brown to recruit him here. That's called détente here in Dayton, Ohio.
It's also called cooperation to excellence. And they did a good job.
I'd love to see Dayton and Wright State play each other again. That used to be a series that went to charity. I think this is one of the it is the greatest in my view, college basketball town in the country. And it'd be wonderful to see these two programs play again like they used to in the past.
Arsenault draws a personal foul. He's basically stayed away from any foul trouble tonight, despite the fact he's having to guard Washington as a crafty character for Miami.
It's a great basketball town. When the Dayton Flyers went to the Elite Eight last year, this town was absolutely electric. It's a fun place to be a college basketball fan with the Dayton Flyers and obviously Wright State as well here today.
Sullivan's hit a little drought now as he misses there. 5:14 left to go in the game.
Good caught.
Arsenault didn't see any motion in that offense and backs it back out. 15 on the shot clock.
He could take Eustace off the dribble. Settles for the J over a big defender.
And out of bounds it goes. It goes to Miami.
I think Reggie Arsenault would like to have that possession back. He's got Jared Eustace, who's a taller defender, not known as a great defender, could have taken him off the dribble, instead settled for a jump shot over the outstretched arm of Eustace.
Arsenault's going to check out of the game, and Benzinger will return. He'll join Mitchell in the backcourt. Thomason along with Coretta and Yoho make up the front line for Wright State. Washington knocked away by Benzinger. Tomlinson, lots of traffic, lays it up.
Grant Benzinger, tough, tough, tough. And Joe Thomason, the recipient of that toughness.
That time Mitchell reached in, but the foul had already been committed. Again, Wright State defensively.
Watch Grant Benzinger. Just gives it up. Superman dive for the loose ball, tips it off to Joe Thomason, and then you let your athlete be an athlete.
Wow.
Grant Benzinger. I love floor burns. Grant Benzinger right now is leading his team with floor burns.
He's got a bunch tonight, that's for sure.
He's made some threes as well, which hasn't hurt.
Free throws by Willie Moore. Willie, of course, coming off those 24 points the other night. First point of the night.
Here's Grant Benzinger, the son of Todd Benzinger, played for the Cincinnati Reds. You a Reds fan?
Yes.
Are you really?
My wife was born in Centerville, and she was a huge Reds fan. Lots of autographs.
I live and die with my Reds.
Yep.
And I'm dying lately.
The Red Machine at one time was unstoppable. 4:15 left to go in this one. There's a steal. Yes! Big finish by Moore. He just made mention he hadn't scored. Comes back with 3 quick points. 54-41 though. And a whistle and a foul. They're going to call that on McKnight. Free throws for Wright State.
Where you can't float passes when you got guys like Willie Moore on the floor, and Billy Donlin made that a serious point of emphasis with his team throughout practice this week.
You know, we talked about his dad being on the bench, Chris Moore, along with Brandon Mullins. The other two assistants on that bench. Foul shots up and good. And Joe, adding to his total, did not score in the first half. Has 7 points for the game and looks for number 8. And gets it in. Back-to-back 20-point games against Evansville and Urbana. Oh, what a nice take to the basket by Washington.
Boy, that's out of the made free throw, and Wright State was not able to get back. Miami recognizes it and takes full advantage.
Davis and Benzinger. Mitchell. Thomason along with Yoho on the floor for Wright State. They answer again with the freshman McCormick and Washington. And Washington with the steal. And a reverse layup is good, and he's fouled. Eric Washington is putting on a show despite the fact his team is clawing uphill. He's at least trying to carry him as much as he can.
The Miami guards are jumping routes and getting into passing lanes. And Eric Washington right here decides, I am going to challenge you and I am going to finish. Eric Washington.
Vikings.
Raiders.
Penguins. Golden Grizzlies.
Phoenix.
Titans.
Crusaders.
Flames. Panthers. 9 teams, 1 goal.
Cutting down those nets.
And making the NCAA tournament.
By winning the Horizon League Championship.
Horizon League Basketball, where madness happens.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Good look at Coach John Cooper on the sideline for Miami. His club had clawed under double figures, but now they trail by the score of 56-45 in this game so far. Here as we close in on the 3:37 mark of the second half.
Well, Wright State, we talked about the importance of rebounding. Wright State right now +6 on the glass. That's been a critical key to the success. Wright State points in paint +14.
Foul line belongs to Washington, and Eric will be right into his point total in this second half. And he has 8 points in the second half, a dozen for the game now. And here's that full court pressure put on by the Redhawks.
It's all about turnovers now, or lack thereof. That's the key for Wright State. That's also the key for Miami right now. They got to get steals and easy baskets.
And they chase. Howell is in there. Good ball handler on the outside. Sullivan is right with him. Yoho. Sullivan rebounds, kicks it out, and here comes McKnight.
Wright State got exactly what they want. Isolation on the backside with Yoho.
And Miami
got what they wanted.
Yep, you got it.
Will Sullivan.
Sullivan knocking down another three, and a timeout's going to be taken here with 3:05 to go, as Wright State did not like what they saw there for sure.
Boy, Will Sullivan, 47% on the season from behind the arc, and that percentage is going up here today.
Sullivan, 5 of 10 field goal shootings, 5 of 9 from the three-point line, 15 points for his line going for tonight. By the way, if Wright State continues to shoot as they are at the moment, They have been over 50% field goal shooting this year 4 other times, or 3 other. Could be the 4th time tonight. Old Dominion shot 56, 51 against Evansville, 56 against Belmont, and their big win at Belmont.
Yeah, Wright State is a much more efficient and skilled offensive team than they have been in the past under Billy Donlin.
Pressures again on by Miami. Hopkins, Yoho. This gives you a great deal of an indication of a kind of ball handler and confidence they have in Yoho as he plays, bringing the ball up the hill.
He brings size that can see over defenders when they trap him. He's bigger than those guards who are trying to trap him. It's a smart move by Billy Donlin.
15 on the shot clock as the Raiders work basket left.
Watch for Yoho low. That's where they definitely want to go. He's double teamed.
3 to shoot. Tomlinson. No good. Rebound comes off to McKnight. And the Red Hawks are on the run.
They had Yoho isolated and missed him late in the possession. Big possession for Miami. Eric Washington just take it.
And he's fouled. And will go to the line and shoot 1 and the bonus. Well, Mark, you pointed out early that sometimes when a guy just realizes, hey, I got to take this team on my back, and he has certainly done so. It has been up and down like a roller coaster, but he truly has been the catalyst for this Miami team tonight.
You know, one of his best friends on the team is Giovanni McKnight, and I talked to him about Eric Washington before the game. I said, tell me one thing about Eric Washington nobody knows. He said, Coach, he's the most quiet guy on the team, but he's the best leader. You don't have to be yelling at guys and being demonstrative to be the leader. He leads by example. And John Cooper's fortunate to have a lead guard that does exactly that.
Washington, a transfer out of Presbyterian College down in South Carolina. He's from Columbus, South Carolina. And his 2 free throws now make it a 5-point game. And Wright State's in trouble in the backcourt. And now they must call a timeout. And they won't have a lot of time to get that ball in and across the timeline.
Well, they had 5 seconds left on the 10-second clock, and they were trapped down in the corner, and Billy Donlin did not like what he saw as far as spacing goes. All the white jerseys were in the defensive half of the floor, and that usually leads to a turnover because you just drag all 5 defenders with them.
Well, coming up for Wright State, of course, they'll be at Western Carolina out in Cullowhee, North Carolina. Then, of course, we'll go against George Mason and then to Ohio State. Should be an interesting trip for them. For Miami, of course, they also are getting themselves ready to head into the MAC. They will be playing host to Longwood coming up on the 17th. They, too, must go to Ohio State, and then we'll play at home against Capital.
So my question is simple. If Ohio State's willing to play Miami and willing to play Wright State, why don't they play Cincinnati?
I don't know. Is that a political thing going on?
It's very much a political thing. It goes back to the 1960s in the national championship game when Cincinnati beat Ohio State, and Ohio State's the one who had nothing to do with Cincinnati ever since.
Ooh, Mr. Ed Jucker and company down there, right?
That's exactly right.
Yep. Here's the inbound, Wright State. And there's a good hustle again, and I tell you what, this young freshman's doing a good job. That's McCormick out of Cincinnati. Knocks it out of bounds, still belongs to Wright State.
Yeah, McCormick, one of those glue guys. He just gives you great effort. He sets his teammates up.
Tomlinson. They get it across. Oh, he takes it all the way to the rack.
Wow.
Big basket there. Washington tries to answer and does.
Hello and goodbye, number 33, Eric Washington.
5-point game with $1:53 to go.
I'd run clock, I'd isolate right-hand block, and get the ball to number 11, J.T. Yoho.
Personal foul by Moore reaching over the top will send Howell to the foul line. That's his 3rd foul called on Moore.
And Eric Washington just explodes in the open court. He was just so fast with the basketball. Some guys are fast runners, but when you put the ball in their hands, it slows them down a little bit. I think he's almost faster with the ball in his hands.
Just kind of throws it out in front and catches up with it. 19 fouls on each side, so Al had to hit the first before getting the second, and he does so.
Boy, after this game, make sure you hang around for UAB at home against North Carolina Asheville and Andrew Rousey. You want to see that kid play. The nation's leading scorer at over 25 points per game.
And by the way, do not anticipate him to score early. He's a guy that kind of lulls you to sleep and then kills you. Miami needs a basket here as they trail by 7 now.
Yeah, they're going to look for Sullivan. That's who they want, number 3 in red. That's who they want to get the open look.
Good defense by Howell, knocks it away with 19 on the shot clock. But McKnight recovers. Inside to McKnight, fall away jumper, no. Rebound, Corena. 1:10 left to go. Howell almost had it snatched away but survived. A steal by McKnight. Off to McCormick, reverse layup, no good.
McCormick had it on the left-hand side and made an easy play a lot tougher. Credit Wright State for getting back, but that's where you got to take it with that strong side.
Sullivan draws the personal foul. At the line, 2 shots coming here for the Raiders with 57.9 seconds left to go. We made mention over the last 8 games, only 2 have been somewhat lopsided. This one looked like it was going to be number 3 in 9 games, but boy, is it tightened up to be a dandy.
Miami just refuses to go away. It's a good rivalry game.
Justin Mitchell out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, misses the front end of the 2 shots. He started against Urbana, which is Coach Donald's opportunity to get a little different rotation on his starters. Had a pretty good game with 16 points and 8 rebounds. So it's nice knowing you got that 6th or 7th man ready to do that. Benzinger back in for Wright State. Second foul shot rebounded off by Sullivan. Here
Watch
comes
Washington.
Miami. Sullivan, long range 3. Oh, just off the front of the rim. Yoho. McKnight with a steal. Layup with the left hand, good. What an effort by Miami against Wright State here, as they are just refusing to go away. 5-point game once again.
John Cooper's guards have used their quickness to an unfair advantage. In coaching, all you ever want is an unfair advantage. And the quickness of Eric Washington, Giovanni McKnight, those 2 guys defensively are creating nightmares right now for Wright State. JT Yoho gets the rebound, and McKnight just anticipates. Bounce passes, lob passes. Those guys are all over. Bounce passes take too long to get to somebody. Here's a bounce pass, watch. Takes too long. Giovanni McKnight steps in. If you snap past that, Giovanni McKnight doesn't get the opportunity for the steal.
And did you notice the nice little left-handed kiss off the glass? That was a tough shot from McKnight. In some heavy traffic inside by the Raiders.
He has brought a lot of energy to Miami today. He has continued to play hard, and we got a 5-point game with 46 seconds to go, and here comes the press from Miami.
Yoho is going to have to take the timeout. You know, one thing that John Cooper is going to find out off of this, if his club could stand to do it, this is a good pressing basketball team. They make the other team kind of make mistakes, and this may be something they put into their arsenal before it's over. And Coach Billy Donald now talking about, hey, we've got to get through this press.
You've got to be judicious about when you use your press, especially if you don't feel like you have the depth to do it. Now, Billy Donlin is facing that full court pressure. You know, Wright State right now, because of the aggressive nature of Miami, I think you got to stretch them. I think you got to look a little bit long right here. See if you can't break somebody loose. You got 4 white jerseys all in this half of the floor. Break somebody deep to stretch the defense.
Keep in mind that Miami also is playing with 7 new faces this year, all trying to find it out. There's that pressure in the backcourt. Yoho breaks it. And a reach-in foul is going to be called, and I believe it's on Washington. No, they're going to call it on Moore. That'll be his 4th. And 2 shots coming here by Yoho. Mitchell will check back into the Wright State lineup in a moment. They have Arsenault along with Howe back in, their 2 best ball handlers in together. Benzinger, of course, with Thomason, and Yoho on the floor at the moment.
Well, this is the guy that we featured at the top of the program as being another quiet leader. He's the most quiet guy on this basketball team, but again, his actions. And right now, these free throws are huge. He missed the first one. Now for number 2.
Timeouts. Each team has 1 remaining. Yoho makes the second of the 2.
If you're going to shoot a three, get it out of your offense. Otherwise, go to attack mode.
6-point game here with under 30 seconds to go and a whistle and a foul.
Smart.
McKnight taken to the basket against Benzinger, and he draws the foul.
How many times do we see teams in that situation that force a three? They try to cut that lead in half right away. Eric Washington was denied penetration, gave it off to Giovanni McKnight. He didn't settle for the jump shot. He draws contact off the dribble. That's smart basketball.
McKnight knocks it down. How many coaches have you heard say we got to just whittle away? The general at Indiana at one time, Bobby Knight, said, hey, we can't get it back at 15 points at a shot. It's 2 points at a time and a little three thrown in there. McKnight has had a good second half. He's got 7. Make it 8 as he's got a dozen for the game. 32.7 seconds to go, 61-57. Benzinger behind everybody. Miami gambled and they paid the price.
When you stretch the defense, it puts a lot of pressure on them. Sometimes they crack.
McKnight.
He's tough.
Well, I tell you what, Washington was trying to do it all. Now McKnight is saying, hey, I got to give the best I got. Stops that clock at 63:59.
So for Miami now, it's about staying with your full court package and when do you foul? And John Cooper's going through that situation right now. 24 seconds to go, down 4. You trap until Wright State brings it across the timeline. Otherwise, you trap as hard as you need to get a steal and hope that the official swallows their whistle if necessary. But I think you gamble in the top 47 feet here and go for the steal in that situation. When it crosses, then you foul.
24.3 seconds left to go. Good look at that Wright State bench. Coach Donald, I'm not sure that the virus is any better now because he's really been heated up tonight. Well, looking ahead, don't forget we've got basketball games coming your way, still more, as Charleston, the college of Charleston, will go and play the 49ers of Charlotte. That's at 8 p.m. on December the 16th. Should be a good matchup there in Charlotte.
Well, Conference USA this year has had 6 victories over the Power 6 programs. Conference USA, in fact, Western Kentucky last night knocked off Ole Miss from Conference USA. A good win for Conference USA last night.
By the way, Conference USA and their special spotlight program will be coming and will be joined in progress immediately after our game is over. You'll find out more about Conference USA. And don't forget about that big game with Asheville again going to UAB. And the nation's leading scorer, Mr. Rousey, getting ready to put a show on.
Watch the white jerseys here and see if they run to the ball or you get a flyer deep. They're flattening out the defense all toward the baseline. I think you're going to see something deep. There it is.
There it is, and they broke it. It's Howell. Washington, oh, he got out of the top. May have got a lot of ball, but apparently got a little hand as well.
Good call by Billy Donlin right there. That was a well-executed out-of-bounds play against a desperate full-court pressing Miami team.
And good call by our coach, Mr. Mark Adams, here at courtside. Nice
Watch
call,
the
Coach.
break right there. Howell just goes deep. That's a well-designed play right there.
Howell got a field goal in the first half. He's got 3 for 3 at the foul line in the second half. And Coach Donlin, I don't know if he's breathing a little easier or not, but with 22.5 seconds to go and another free throw, he now leads at 65-59.
Oh, and a steal.
That's tough. Now Howell. They're hoping to get a foul. Arsenault, 14 seconds, and they finally do for Washington. And 2 shots coming here for the Raiders. 1 timeout remaining for Wright State, none for Miami now. So it is up to the clock to wind out at 13.9 seconds to go. And possibly give Wright State their 7th win of the year and their 6th consecutive loss for the Redhawks. And a tough loss indeed here tonight.
How about Mark Howell, who really is not used very much for Wright State? He gets the breakout, they execute, he gets the breakout layup, gets the free throws, and then comes back and gets the steal. That's why you got to stay prepared on the bench. Well done, Mark Howell.
Washington weaving his way through the traffic. Yoho off for the rebound and draws a quick foul. Sullivan, I believe, might have gotten that foul. He does. That's his third, and 2 shots to Yoho. Mark Adams, been a real pleasure here at courtside today. It's been kind of fun for this game. Yep.
Great rivalry. You got to experience a little bit of Southwest Ohio here basketball with Miami going up against Wright State. Wright State's a good basketball team. They swept the series against Belmont, won 1 here and 1 down in Nashville. Now they beat their rival Miami. And this rivalry started a long time ago, back in the late 70s, when Darrell Hedrick, the Division I program, came over and actually played on the road at the Division II program at Wright State. It's been a friendly rivalry, but obviously a very heated rivalry and well played.
McKnight throws it well out of bounds. By the way, Yoho with 17 leading Wright State. Miami 15 by Sullivan, hitting 5 of 10 from the three-point line. And they'll just let this wind out with less than a second, and that's going to do it. So 68-59 is the final score, and you say, well, they came up and, of course, got it by, as you see, 9 points, but it looked like it could be a 1 or 2 point game for a lot of that last 4 or 5 minutes.
And Grant Benzinger was the toughest kid on the floor in floor burns and the best shooter on the floor as well, as he just knocked down 3 after 3 after 3. And Wright State comes away with a big home win over their rival Miami.
Benzinger again might have had a little trouble in the shoot around with that left hand, but it didn't show early on, as his early threes in that first half really paid dividends as the players will shake hands, and of course this one is over.
The Horizon League with Green Bay picked in the preseason, but after what I saw today, I think that Wright State's going to have something to say about the Horizon League championship race. Well done by Billy Donlin and the Wright State Raiders.
Well, more on Conference USA will be coming up, joining in progress with their Spotlight Show. And then, of course, it's Asheville going to UAB. More basketball on the American Sports Network. It's been fun for us tonight here in Dayton. But right now, Wright State comes up and gets the win in our final score, 68-59. For Mark Adams, this is Sam Smith. Thanks for joining us. Till next time, so long, everybody, on the American Sports Network.
Come back. Is this going to be a repeat of last week? But Marshall, Doc Holliday, and the entire staff kept the players focused. That is huge. They just chipped away at the lead, which they needed to do, and then they did what got them to the championship game. And I think the fact that they had the mental toughness to overcome that 10-0 lead, I think that was huge.
And that was something you talked about last week. But obviously, we have to mention our MVP kicker, Justin Haig. He hit 3 field goals in 8 minutes, kept him chipping away at that score.
That is huge. Now, I'm not a big fan of kicking field goals when you have nice drives, because that usually comes back to bite you, except in a championship game. You have to get points where you can, especially in the conditions that they were playing in, especially playing a team that's as powerful as Louisiana Tech is on offense, and they did just that. Haig has had an outstanding year, as I mentioned, never missed an extra point this season. That was huge, and considering he kicked over 70 extra points, that's big, but they did the right thing. Let's just get the points, guys. Let's chip away at the lead. There's no such thing as a 10-point play. Then we get in a position, we'll do what got us to the championship game.
Kickers were very important in this matchup. Marshall, in the fourth quarter, settled for the 24-yard field goal, cutting the score to 23-19 La Tech. Then La Tech gets the ball back, drives down the field, but misses a 49-yard field goal attempt.
I think that was huge for Louisiana Tech, because there was about 5 minutes left in the game. You kick the field goal, you're up by 7. You got a little comfort. You got a little momentum going your way. Maybe we held off Marshall. But missing that field goal, I think, was huge. It was deflating, I'm sure, for the offense, and it gave Marshall a little momentum. That was a big turning point in that game.
After that miss, Marshall gets the ball back and moves it down the field.
That's what I talk about, momentum shifting, and that's what happened in that play. But you got to give credit again to Rakeem Cato. Those of us that have been around Rakeem Cato the last couple of years, we've seen this young man not only mature on the field, but off the field as well. And I think he showed that maturity. A fitting ending for Rakeem Cato. Outstanding career, but what a way to end it on the championship.